Recording yet?
We're live.
We are. Thank you.
All right, everyone. This meeting is called to order. Welcome to the Highland Park Planning Board, January 13th, 2022 meeting held by Zoom. The annual notice of this meeting was provided to the Star Ledger, Home News Tribune, and Highland Park Planet on January 29th, 2021. In addition, notice of this meeting via Zoom was faxed to the Home News Tribune and emailed to the Star Ledger and the Highland Park Planet on January 11th, 2022, and was posted on the Borough website at www.hpborough.com and on the bulletin board at Borough Hall, 221 South Fifth Avenue, Highland Park, New Jersey, on January 11th, 2022, and has remained continuously posted as required by law. Before we get into things today, just want to formally take note that we have a whole new composite of faces and participants this evening. We've said goodbye to our long-term chair, Kim Hammond, our vice chair, Alan Kluger, and our member, Steve Nolan, all of whom have served this board for many, many years. Let's see, Steve's been a member of the board for 8 years. Kim was a member for 17 years. And believe it or not, Alan had hit 21 years before he decided to step away. They will be greatly missed. We really appreciate the time, their dedication, and all their effort that they put into our board and serving this town. They were role models for what it was to be a planning board member. I learned a tremendous amount from them, and we will miss them. But that's not to say I'm not very pleased to see the returning members of our board back here joining us, and our new appointees, Dan Cardinelli, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and Alvin Chin. And I'm going to turn the meeting over to Roger, who will take this opportunity to swear in all the members who need to be sworn in and start our reorganization meeting.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
That includes the next order of business is to swear in the new members. That's Mr. Cardinelli, Mr. Chin, Ms. Hadhazi, Mr. Perlman, Mr. Millay, and Mr. Brescher. If each of you will raise your right hand, if you'll repeat after me, I and then state your name.
I, Patrick Millay,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully, impartially, justly perform all the duties
of a
board member
of a planning board
to the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
I do further solemnly swear or affirm
I do further solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will
support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to same,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States and in this state,
to the
the
government
governments established in the United States and the state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
So help me God.
So help
So help
me
me
God.
God.
And if each of you either have or you can put your hands down now, that's fine. If each of you will either have or will get a copy of the oath, if you'll please sign it. Jen, I don't remember if you're a notary, are you?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
send them back to Jen so that she can then execute them, and then we are set to go. The first order of business for the reorganization for the Borough of Highland Park Planning Board for the year 2022 is the selection of officers. The first officer to be selected is that of the chair.
Roger,
Yes.
I'm sorry, we didn't do roll call.
Oh, I apologize. Let's do the roll call. Jen.
Ms. Hand,
Present.
Mr. Brescher,
Here.
Mr. Chin,
Here.
Ms. Hadhazi,
Here,
Mr. Hale,
Here.
Mr. Linares, Mr. Millay,
here,
Mr. Perlman,
Here.
Mr. Cardinal,
Here.
Mr. Williams,
here,
Mr. Thomas,
Here.
Mr. Cosenza,
Here.
and Mr. Koch.
Here.
Thank you, Jen. And with that, we're going back to the nomination of officers. And the first nomination is for the chair for the planning board for 2022. Are there nominations for the chair?
I would nominate
Rebecca Hand.
Rebecca Hand. All right, I guess
second.
I guess we'll take Jeff Pearlman, and I heard
Okay.
somebody else.
Patrick.
Okay, Pedrick, fine. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, the nominations are closed. If we could have a roll call, please, Jen.
Mr. Brusher,
Yes.
Mr. Chin,
Yes.
Ms. Hadhazy,
Yes.
Mr. Hale,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Pearlman,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
and Ms. Hand.
Yes, thank you.
Madam Chair, the meeting is yours. The next order of business, of course, is the nomination for the vice chair.
Yes, for nominations for vice chair, if I may, I would like to nominate Pedrick Malay. If anyone would like to provide a second.
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 Well, I see Alan Williams got there first, so I'll take the second from Alan Williams. Any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none. Jen, let's take a roll call.
Mr. Brusher,
Yes.
Mr. Chin,
Yes.
Ms. Hadhazy,
Yes.
Mr. Hale,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Pearlman,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Ms. Hand.
Yes. That will take us to secretary, and at the risk of hijacking the meeting, I'd like to renominate Alan Williams to continue to serve as our secretary. A second,
Second.
That was Matt.
Pedrick second.
Oh, all right.
Seeing any other nominations for secretary? Seeing none, Jen, how about a roll call on secretary?
Mr. Brusher,
Yes.
Mr. Chin,
Yes.
Ms. Hadhazy,
Yes.
Mr. Hale,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Pearlman,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes, and thank you.
and Ms. Hand.
Yes. Okay, Roger, for the appointment of our professionals, do we need to take a roll call? How should we
would
handle
need to
this?
do that if you can either do them individually or as a group as you choose.
Well, how about we nominate our professionals as a slate for a time-saving measure?
Okay.
We have, of course, Mr. Thomas for our attorney. We have Mr. Cosenza's office. I'm sorry, Chris, I don't remember the office's name.
LRK.
LRK.
LRK, thank you. LRK as our planner, and of course, our now, of course, none of the words are coming out. Thank you. For our engineer, and Jen is our clerk. All right. Do we need a second on that, or can we just take
Yes,
roll
we
call?
do. No, we need
Okay. I can say.
Pedrick, I thought, okay.
We'll take a second from Pedrick and a third from Jeff. It'll work. All right, Jen, how about a roll call, please?
Mr. Brusher,
Yes.
Mr. Chin,
Yes.
Ms. Hadhazy,
Yes.
Mr. Hale,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Pearlman,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
and Ms. Hand.
Yes.
Thank you
All
all.
right.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we're setting the meeting dates and the designations of our official newspapers. I think everyone got the 2022 proposed meeting schedule. And unless anyone noted any conflicts or challenges, that schedule will be what we nominate for our next year's meeting dates. Hearing no objections. We will also be nominating the Home News Tribune and Star Ledger as our official newspapers. And I suppose the Highland Park Planet as the preferred choice of discerning Highland Park residents, but perhaps not the official newspaper. Do we need to take a vote on that?
We do. You need to do a motion a second. This one can be a voice vote once you get the motion.
A second.
Mr. Chin, I believe. Congratulations. Very good.
There you go. All right, so Alvin, Mr. Chin making the motion. Do I have a second?
I can second.
Second.
All right, Jeff, second. Take a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, so adopted. Finally, we have our lovely rules of order, which should have also been forwarded to everybody. Last amended, it looks like in 2015, and otherwise having served us well for the last 6 or 7 years in their current format. If anyone, I'll accept a motion to adopt our rules and regulations of the planning board.
So moved.
So moved by Matt,
Second.
second by Pedrick.
And again,
Take
a
a voice
vote.
vote.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Any abstentions? So adopted. Now we have our rules and regulations for the next year, so we don't descend into chaos.
Ah, rats.
All right, moving right along. Next up, we had something that slipped through the cracks here. We had meeting minutes from July 12th of 2018 that we forgot to adopt.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes these things just happen.
Yeah.
Who knows? We actually only have 3 members of the board present who were part of that meeting, but that being said, I think that's even enough to carry the motion minutes. So we need a roll call on this, right?
You need a motion, a second, and then you don't need a roll call. You can do a voice vote.
All right, then I will, assuming everyone's had the opportunity to review the July 12th, 2018 minutes. Are there any comments or changes to the minutes? Okay, hearing none, I'll solicit here a motion to accept them.
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Jeff. Have a second? I'll second it. Seconded by me.
There we go.
All right, then we'll take a voice vote. All in favor of adopting the July 12th, 2018 minutes?
Hey,
Aye.
Aye.
Oh,
Aye.
I'm sorry. Alan? Yes, Alan.
Don't you have been present at that meeting to vote for it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. So there's only
And it
3
don't-
of
and
us.
It's only going to
Okay.
be the 3. Everybody else will be abstaining. Who's present here today?
It's
Yes.
Scott Brescher, Rebecca, and myself, the 3
Yeah.
Oh,
members.
and Pedro.
Yeah. And
Oh, no,
Pedro was
Pedro
not
was
there.
I
absent.
was not there.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
So
So-
those 3 and everybody else abstains.
Yes. So we'll round robin again. All who can vote, who are in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and all abstentions.
Abstain.
Abstain.
Same.
Sounds good. Having had at least 3 members voting, the motion passes. All right. Look at us running through this. All right, next up on the agenda, we have the memorialization of a resolution that we passed at our last meeting, at the December 9th, 2021 meeting, to grant an extension of time to the applicant Jazzin LLC regarding their minor subdivision application, because they haven't had the ability to complete their paperwork basically in the time frame permitted by the statute. I believe the applicant originally requested 180 days. Our professionals recommended less. We settled on 90 days. Does anyone have any comments to the resolution? Questions, concerns? All right, Roger, this one a voice vote too, or is this a roll
No,
call?
this one you need a roll call.
All right, first I'll solicit a motion to accept the resolution P2022-01.
So
I'll make, okay. Seconded.
Motion by Matt, second by Jeff. Roll call, please.
Mr. Brescher,
Yes.
Mr. Chin,
Yes.
No, you
Ted
you
Hazy?
abstain. You'll abstain.
Okay. I'll abstain.
Ms. Hadhazy, I don't remember if you were there.
I will abstain because I think I
Okay.
was not at this meeting.
All right.
Mr. Hale,
Yes.
Mr. Malay,
Yes.
Mr. Perlman,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes,
and Ms. Hand.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Before I open up the meeting to any members of the public who may be joining us this evening or not, we wanted to take a moment to visit a topic of conversation that has come up previously with the planning board, where we've talked about amending our potential checklists when it comes to providing applications before this board. This came up last year. It kind of in January of last year. It fell through the cracks. We brought it up again in August. It's kind of lingered since then. And for the benefit of our new members, we had some major applications where members of the board felt that we were missing pertinent pieces of the application that perhaps had been presented to the township, but were not part of the checklist and therefore not part of the final approval process. So we had sent a request through Roger to the council to review amending our checklist so that we could have those documents and documentation that may be submitted to the township, but not technically part of the checklist. Matt, I'm sorry to put you on the spot. I don't know if there's ever been any conversation about the checklists or reviewing them or letting the board see those documents. Has council looked at the letter?
So we've discussed the letter. I don't think there's any objections from council to providing additional documentation as needed. I think my understanding is that this is just for paper documentation as opposed to necessarily having the professionals attend. Did I understand that correctly? That this
The idea, yeah.
So the checklist is really just that. It's a matter of
right.
presentation of materials to be composed as to what is a complete application. And then depending upon what is necessary as the hearing goes on, there may be a need to have certain members of the applicant's team to come in and testify. But this is really just checklist, and therefore it's material that the board felt in the past would have been helpful if they had it during the course of, or during the initial review, so that it didn't delay the application. And we thought it was a more efficient way to handle it.
Yep.
So that was the reason for the request.
And the council is perfectly happy to have those documents shared and so that we're all on the same page.
And therefore, they're willing to amend the checklist to include those items that are outlined in the letter.
Yes.
All right. Well, then I guess we'll hear back maybe next month.
Well, before we move on, I think Alan Williams wanted to contribute thoughts.
There are some times when I think we would want to hear a professional. We
Right.
certainly are conscious of costs and things of that sort, but there are times when you just need to, I think we would need to hear from the professionals to make sure that we totally understood and that that it was the appropriate thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that we have a good enough working relationship between the board and the planning board that we can work that out as it goes. And so I think we're fine with the documents. If we have them, you can have them. So.
Again, Alan, this is really with regard to the checklist, and therefore it is paperwork. But during the course of the hearing, the board always has the right to request information to be presented by the appropriate professional. So the checklist is paperwork. The hearing requires testimony, if need be.
Okay. Thank you, Matt. Much appreciated. All right. So let me say, now would be the moment we check in with Scott to see if there's any interesting developments around town from our local zoning and building official.
Unfortunately, there's nothing new and exciting happening in town.
I guess that's good and bad, huh?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's usually slow in December, hopefully things start picking up. Usually probably end of January, things usually start picking up a little bit.
Did they get the CO on the old International Food Store yet?
I think he's all done over there. Chris, you were done with that, right?
I think we just have to make sure the trees are in and coordinate on making sure the parking has been resolved. I believe they have been, but it's need to double check. I don't think we issued a full CO because there's some minor issues.
Yeah, well, they did send over the parking thing for over by North 3rd.
Because we see a lot of cars
That's right.
parked there now. And what is technically the gun and boat property, because I know it doesn't belong to International Foods, but a lot of cars parking over there now. And I see that the church is now using it as the gun and boat show as a donation center. I know the town had been working on that property to try to keep it from continuing to deteriorate. I don't know if that's gone anywhere, that situation, but.
Well, I mean, the
Looks
goal
better.
of having I'm sorry, do you want me to address that or?
Sure.
I mean, just this is a understandably short-term rental for the church to be able to provide a place for them to store a lot of their materials that they end up donating to an immigrant community. People can drop off stuff as well, but they're also cleaning up the inside, which is quite helpful given the state of it. I do believe that there's a limit of the parking that they have over there. So I should check into that if we feel like there's a lot of cars over there, but I think they have a limit of a certain number of cars, but I can double check that.
All right, just curious where that was going.
Yeah.
Do we know what's going in that space?
No, because it's part of the redevelopment. So we have no idea what will be there eventually.
All right. Does any other members of the board want to make general comments or observations, and as our role as board members before we open up to the public? No. Okay.
Just one comment from the professional. We have a few ordinances coming your way, so it'll be a busy first quarter.
Exciting times. Look for. I'm excited to review the new zoning overlays. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very interested to see how those compromises came down and how we're going to work with the undersized lots.
Right.
So, good times. All right, Jen. Do we have any members of the public who wish to be heard?
We have no attendees.
Their loss. I'm sure they'll watch us in rerun though. So, all right, then I will formally open it up to members of the public. However, hearing and seeing none, I will then close the meeting to members of the public. All right, everybody. Last chance before we wrap up. All right.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Bruce. Oh,
Yeah.
Happy New Year. Yes.
And very, very efficiently run, I must say.
I just must say that this is the most efficiently run, planning board meeting I've ever been at. It's the shortest for sure.
The board is in good
I second
hands.
that, Matt.
Rebecca, I'd just like to thank all the board members for the reappointment. It's a pleasure working with you all.
We appreciate you very much. Thank you for that. All right. With that, I will wait, we got to formally do it. Otherwise we'll have an open meeting that has to be recorded for the next month. I will formally take a motion to end the meeting.
Motion to end the meeting.
Motion
I
by
second.
Kendrick, second by Kalidra. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Very nice. Thank you, everybody. Until next month. See you
Thank
next
you.
time.
Everybody have a good evening and a good month.
Night.
Take care.
Good
all.
night.
Good night.
Hey, everybody.
Good night. Off to the next meeting.
Bye.
Bye.